USC women's basketball got a big win against UCLA. USC football is making money moves in the offseason, and the baseball team is rearing up for its season opener tonight. All of that and more coming right up. It's the Water Cooler. Where else would you rather be? Good morning and welcome to the Water Cooler, your home for USC sports banter. I'm your host, Thomas Johnson, joined alongside Hayes Flanagan and Stefano Fenderich. There's so much USC athletics chatter to get to, so let's hop right into it with Water Cooler talk. Roll the bump. Juju Watkins and the USC women's basketball team faced off against Lauren Betts and UCLA last night at Galen Center. The Trojans outscored the Bruins 24-8 in the fourth frame to secure the 71-60 victory over number 1 UCLA. So what is y'all's instant reaction to one of the best games of the season?
I mean, USC did exactly what they needed to do to win that game. It was key to shut down Betts and get that double team right. You only really saw it come together in the fourth where the guards started crashing well. Akamwafu was shutting Betts down, and that's what you needed to do because then the whole team you saw started to fall apart. And then Galen got so loud, and then they made mistake after mistake after mistake, and USC came in and shut them down. Also, you saw Juju have her best game in over maybe all season. Yeah, all season, easily. And so we saw that whole team come together for once, and Juju played well, and the whole team played well, which hasn't happened all season long. You can see Juju shot so well from mid-range and the three. Once you hit that first three, I knew.
But you really think the rest of the team played well? I mean, Kiki Iriafen at one point was 1 for 11 from the field. Like, USC won the game. It was great, but it felt like if Juju had scored 35 points or 33, like USC wouldn't have won.
I agree with you there, but to some extent, they did step up when it matters. I mean, that Avery Howell fourth quarter three, I've never seen Galen pop like that, and she showed up right when it mattered. I will say, I mean, coming into this game, you knew you needed a performance from Juju. Last 6 games, she's shooting 30%. Game before, she shot 5 for 21. She's just not been playing well, and she stepped up in a big way. But as you said, you know, the question going forward now is, can USC put it together the same night Juju puts it together?
Yeah.
And I'm confident that the team can. I mean, against Ohio State, you have players like Kennedy Smith showing out, absolutely balling when you need them to be. So, you know, I think it's only a matter of time before they all just put it together, honestly.
Well, USC has a rematch with UCLA coming up at Pauley Pavilion on March 1st. But USC has played so many good teams this year. UCLA, Notre Dame, UConn, and Ohio State. Do you think all of this regular season competition will help them in March, or is it going to be too much attrition come the big dance?
I definitely think they're tired. I mean, we have to acknowledge that they've been traveling an insane amount. Within the month of February and January, the end of January and early February, they were on the road a ton. They were in Indiana, then they were in, Chicago playing Northwestern. So they're tired for sure, but I do think it prepares them for the moment. That Ohio State game, you saw the whole team play well, except for Juju still played well. Like, guys, she still scored 20 points.
So, she still somehow gets it done.
She somehow gets it done.
So we can't say that the team, that they played a good team game versus Ohio State, and I think that's what we needed to see this team coming together. They weren't there versus Notre Dame, and we saw that. We saw Notre Dame exploit them in that way. So I was hopeful, and I thought, you saw that progression being made of that team coming together and learning how to play together.
And I mean, I will, to Thomas's point, their loss, I think it was like a week and a half ago to Iowa, you really did see that fatigue set in. That was a game they really shouldn't have lost. But you got to remember, USC's playing so well, they're going to get, home court advantage for the first and second round of the NCAA tournament. So I think that'll really come in to play when it matters. But also, I'd rather them face these big teams. And even if they lose, it's, this is the type of competition that you're going to see in the Final Four, in the Elite Eight. So I really think it's going to help them in the long run. And, their roster is a lot deeper than we think it is. As I mentioned, Avery Howell
So
stepping
deep.
up,
Are you
Kaylee
kidding?
Heckle. So I just really think it's going to, work well for them. And man, I would be scared to see the Trojans in March. I'd be scared.
Well, in that bounce-back victory against Wisconsin after they lost to Iowa, Juju Watkins only had 14 points. And guess what? That was the second lowest point total in her career, which is
Wow.
just mind-boggling to me. So she's been good from day one. It's really impressive from her. But what do you think USC as a team needs to do heading into the Big Ten? We kind of talked about that fatigue factor, but what does USC need to do better?
I think in these two big wins, we saw rebounding be the key to these wins. Out-rebounding. They out-rebounded Ohio State majorly, and that's how they got ahead. So I think boxing out, keeping, those keys in the paint, because we know they're a pretty good mid-range and three team. Like, they can make those shots. It's more about what can you do inside the paint. We're not this huge team. We're a pretty short team. So, I think that's going to be key going into March and heading into March Madness.
I also think it's going to come up to the veteran leadership. When Juju's shots aren't falling, who's going to step in and make those shots? You need someone like TVO to come in and take more control of the game and, pass it to Kennedy Smith on the wing. Give it to Kiki down inside. So I really think that's what's important. And I really do think, Gottlieb's offensive system, how she's going to drop the plays for, the other people not named Juju. I think that's what it's going to come down to.
I think it's going to be really important for the Trojans to see a player like Kiki Irifin really step up. I mean, she
Yeah.
was averaging 18 points heading into last night, was pretty much a non-factor, but USC did come away with the win against the number one team.
Undefeated.
The number one
For
undefeated
16
team.
weeks.
Yes, for only the second time in USC's history. But where women's basketball is having a successful season, USC football did not. However, Lincoln Riley has yet again had a strong offseason, securing a contract extension with defensive coordinator Danton Lynn, and then bringing in the likes of linebackers coach Rob Ryan and general manager Chad Bowden. Let's take a listen from Ryan's opening press conference.
Hey, you'll see this. I'm going to be me. I'm comfortable in my own skin, so I hope you are. I enjoy people. It's a people business. And, I had my first taste. We were in a team meeting yesterday, and to see the young faces looking back, it was refreshing and it was exciting. And, obviously here I'm joining the best coaching staff in the country.
Now, among these two moves, we've seen a couple other moves. USC brought in a staffer from Wisconsin. But which of these offseason moves do you think is the most important for USC?
I don't know if you can weigh the two, but I definitely think, keeping Danton Lynn is huge for the program. I think a lot of the whole defense stayed around for him. They really loved him, and they loved the culture he built. And we saw that defense improve immensely this season. So I think that was huge. And also hiring a GM. That's the future of football. In this NIL world, you need a GM. And Lincoln Riley had a lot on his plate. And you can tell when you hire a GM that was where a lot of his focus was going in GM roles. So I think that was huge. And also, we love to steal someone from Notre Dame.
Oh,
so.
it's amazing.
I think that was the most impressive thing for me,
Yeah.
is bringing in a general manager from a heated rival.
And
the
who
fighting,
just was in the NCAA?
Yeah,
Who was in the championship?
the CFP.
Yes.
And if Bowden can help construct a roster that can make the CFP, what is he going to be able to do at USC when you have a bigger recruiting base in California?
And, we talked about it on the show before, Lincoln Riley's recruiting struggles. So I really think this is going to be, crucial to setting this team up for success, not just next season, but the next 3 seasons. We've always had, this problem where I feel like USC doesn't have enough, homegrown talent, really. And I feel like, Chad, just look at him. He's gonna do some great things for USC. But also, Rob Ryan, his brother, famous Jets head coach, he's gonna bring in that.
That's all
You
you're
would
giving
bring
him?
up the Jets.
That's
I
all
had
you're
to.
giving him?
No, but he's also
He's
had a
coached in
great
college and the NFL.
He had a great defense for the Saints a few years ago too. He's I think he's gonna.
So
bring
that's a
something.
secondary point. You brought up Rex Ryan first.
Can't a guy love the Jets? But nonetheless, Rob Ryan is gonna bring the much-needed experience to this team.
Okay. We've made a lot of moves, USC has, and we saw the Trojans really focus on the defense last year. They were really focusing on staff moves this year. Do you think all of these moves, all encompassing, will do enough for USC to get to the CFP as early as next season?
No, that's
Okay.
not even close. Yeah.
That's like a joke. I mean, we see them focusing on everything but the offense. Like, Hassan Longstreet probably won't play a snap this year. If you're,
Really? You don't think so?
No,
Who are
I
the
don't
wide
think so.
receivers?
Yes, it's
Jacoby
like,
Lane and
get out
Makai
there.
Lemon? What are you talking
You
about?
need more.
You need
No,
more
you
than-
don't. No,
Yes,
no, no,
you
no.
do.
I've been
Oh,
okay.
God, this
we
is
could talk about this now.
brutal.
I'm convinced that part of the problem with USC's offense last year, they're trying to spread the ball around too much. You have Deuce Robinson, Zachariah Branch, Kyron Hudson, Makai Lemon, Jacoby
Okay,
Lane. Those
don't
are
act
five.
like Zach was not like a factor.
Yeah, and they're still
really.
trying to get him the ball.
You know,
but
you're
now,
right.
now
it's
you
a
have
problem that they have too many good players. I feel like that's a thing on Lincoln
And now
Riley.
they have a
Come
problem
on
that
now.
they don't have enough.
no. All you need is two. What? How many wide receivers are on the field at one time? Max, like 4, and then a tight end.
So then 2 are a non-threat? Like, okay.
Whoa, okay. You're acting like
Oh.
Xavier Jordan, a 4-star wide receiver, isn't a threat. Like, it's not like all of USC's best players left. They still have good wide receivers behind Makai Lemon and Jacoby
And
Lane.
Thomas, think
But-
about the conference we're in. Outperformed everyone this year. You
Okay. Let's talk about Ohio State, the national championships. Beyond Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith.
the two
Yeah,
best receivers in college football.
yeah. Who's behind them? Who is wide receiver
You
3
don't
for
need
Ohio
them when they're
State?
2 top 5 receivers in the sport.
Jeremiah
And-
Smith is like the biggest threat in college football. What do you
And you're saying,
mean?
okay,
Yeah, sorry,
I
that's
think,
like Makai Lemon is Jeremiah Smith.
I think Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane
Get
can
out
get
of
that.
here! Get out of here! This is
Look,
like
all I'm saying is
insane.
you need 2 game changers, and Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane. I'm not even suggesting that USC needs to win the national championship. I agree. Jeremiah Smith,
They're
best
not
wide
even
receiver
gonna
in
win
football.
The Big Ten.
Are they going to make it to 500, Thomas?
Yes.
Oh, we thought
Undoubtedly.
that.
Yes.
Or you don't want to think
Have you
about
looked at
that?
their
Yeah.
schedule?
You said this last season.
Yeah, they made it past 500, didn't they?
Oh,
Barely.
You know what?
Yeah, but they made it. That's all that matters.
Oh,
In a way.
in a way. but-
Okay, I'm just gonna say, I don't think USC is gonna make the college football playoff, but you're really
no,
selling them
we're far
short.
from
You
it.
guys are pessimistic.
Pessimistic.
You guys are upset
Have you
that
seen this team the last
you
3
guys are
years?
upset that you're seniors and you're not gonna be able to see USC play well in
Are
the Big
you
Ten.
kidding me, Thomas? This team is in shambles. Their whole offense practically left because they don't like the state of the locker room. Lincoln Riley.
Wait, I don't understand what you're saying. 2 good wide receivers, a lot of offensive line transfers in, a good running back transfer in.
Thomas, we have the same conversation every offseason. I feel like you're just feeding into this Lincoln Riley propaganda.
Maybe
You know
I
what?
am.
Yes, he is.
Maybe
He
I
is.
am.
my God.
I'll admit it.
You
Maybe
should
I
go
am.
join his coaching staff at this point. Like,
Well, I don't think because I
Got you a little
trusted
flustered there,
I
Thomas.
trusted the Lincoln Riley coaching staff, and I couldn't be on that staff. I'm just saying, but I don't know. Very good moves.
Lincoln,
Very
whenever
good
you
moves.
Need a new offensive coordinator.
Very good moves from USC this offseason, bringing in Rob Ryan, Chad Bowden, a bunch of staff for the Trojans to really hype up recruiting. I really do think that USC is going to be better next year, finishing this year at 7-6. But you never know with the way the Big Ten runs. And USC lost a lot of close games this year. I think the Trojans, they have to lose small before they can win small, before they can win big. I think that's where USC is moving on. But before we head to break, we're going to do one more USC athletics topic. Let's send it over to Dylan Luden and Anthony Bettino making his water cooler debut to talk about USC baseball.
Thank you, Thomas. Well, USC baseball is one of the last Trojan sports teams to make their debut in the Big Ten, and there's a lot of excitement about the potential of this year's team. It's the 3rd year as head coach for Andy Stankiewicz, entering back-to-back years of 30 or more wins, the first time since 2001 to 2002. USC almost made the regionals last season, but lost in walk-off fashion to Arizona in the Pac-12 tournament. Anthony, what are you most excited about for this season in baseball?
Look, personally, I'm really excited to see some of the hitters in action this season. We got an all-star sophomore class this year. We got Braden Dowd coming back. I think he's going to take over that Austin O'Verne role. He's going to be stealing bases and hit a lot of base hits. I'm really looking for big things with him. Then Bryce Martin Grislank, he's had a really good season his freshman year at UCLA. Injured last year, didn't see a lot of playing time, but this year I think he's coming back for revenge season. And then most importantly, Dean Carpentier. I heard he put a lot of muscle on this season, and in scrimmages and practice, he's getting a lot of base hits. I'm expecting really big things from him.
Yeah, Bryce is going to be one of these leaders in the lineup, but, like you mentioned, Down, Carpentier, and Kevin Takeuchi, they're big sophomores, and USC didn't hit a lot of power last year. As a team, they had less home runs than Charlie Condon, who led the NCAA in home runs for Georgia. So they need to, maybe hit with some more thump. And, I'm looking forward to see what these freshmen can kind of do in their sophomore years. But, going off the pitching, they have Caden Aoki, who led the Pac-12 in ERA 2 years ago. And he was also injured last year, but came back and finished strong. He threw 6 no-hit innings in the Pac-12 championship game before they eventually fell to Arizona. And then, they also have Michael Ebner as well. He's going to be in the rotation. He's been a reliever his whole time here at USC, but he's going to slot into one of the 3 starting rotation roles on the weekend. And he was a Cape Cod All-Star last year as well, best summer league, and he, held it down on his own. But the thing is, though, is that he broke his hand apparently, and he's going to be out for the first 3 weeks of the season. So USC might need to fill in some of the stop gaps here in pitching, for the rotation this weekend against George Washington to open up the season. They're going to throw a lefty, Caden Hunter. He's a junior college transfer. He's going to start today. Aoki's starting Saturday, and then Jackson Baker, a sophomore transfer from Alabama, starting on Sunday, and he only pitched like 1 or 2 innings at Alabama. So there's a lot of question marks around the pitching this year for USC. I mean, their bullpen kind of stepped up in ways last year, but they lost a couple of guys. But we'll see how it is for pitching. I think there's a lot more question marks on the pitching side than there is the hitting side. But in an overall team perspective, Anthony, where do you think that USC might end up in the Big Ten in their first year?
Look, in the grand scheme of things, on paper, the Big Ten is not a very strong conference. There's only 2 teams ranked, and in their overall schedule, they only play 3 ranked teams in general, the second one being Oregon, Nebraska, and UCSB. So they have a lot of potential to put on a really good season. I think they'll definitely be over 500. But that being said, they're probably not going to go that far in the postseason. I think just because the Big Ten isn't a strong conference, they can go pretty far. I don't think they'll win, but they have a lot of potential to go very far. And that's on paper, though. In reality, they got to travel. They got to go all the way to Penn State.
True.
They got to play
100%.
these North teams like Michigan. They got to adapt to the cold. So there's a lot of things that we're seeing that that isn't on paper that could really affect them.
True. They're hard to rank as well because, different, publications have them ranking differently. Baseball America has them ranking regional, while D1 Baseball has them ranked 10th, and then NCAA has them finishing 6th. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they rank. But that's it for us for the baseball segment. Should be a good weekend for baseball, and tune into Big Ten Plus to hear me and Casey Kasliner calling all 3 games. And we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we break down a big week for the Lakers, the Super Bowl, and yet another great debate.
Welcome back to the Water Cooler. I am now joined on the desk by everyone's favorite duo of Dylan Luden and Stefano Fendrich.
It's us.
It's us.
The Los Angeles Lakers sent shockwaves throughout the NBA ecosystem with their trade for Luka Doncic, who made his debut for the Purple and Gold this week. But in trying to buy a big, the Lakers had to rescind their trade with the Charlotte Hornets, which would have brought Mark Williams to Crypto.com Arena. First, let's talk about Luka's 14-point debut against Utah. He also came back with a 16-point performance against that same Jazz team. So how did you guys see Luka's fit across those first 2 games with the Lakers?
Well, look, I love it. I mean, he brings a whole, another aspect of playmaking into this team to help out LeBron and help out, Austin Reeves. And his showcase in the first 2 games, even though they lost last game. But that first game, though, he was just lobbing up alley-oop passes to Jackson Hayes all game, and the Jazz couldn't do anything to stop it. And, obviously that's going to be a big problem for the Lakers is that center position. They signed Alex Len to kind of help Jackson Hayes. But I feel like Luka, with the help of LeBron, can help out the center position a lot. I mean, you're seeing it now. He's just lobbing it up, pick and rolls. You're finding open guys, and I think Luka's playmaking ability is really shown. And obviously, it's his first game since Christmas, so he's not going to be at full, 100% in terms of scoring. But once he hits that kind of, full healthiness and full form, I mean, watch out. I think this team's going to be dangerous.
So you're not concerned about him only compiling 30 points across the last 2 games?
No, because he was injured since Christmas. I mean, he's on a limited, minute restriction. I'm fine with him scoring that many points.
I mean, yeah, I think it's going to take a while for them to mesh, but Luka Doncic is one of those players. You can plug him into just about any system with any players, and he's going to be a baller. I mean, he's, dominant. He's a triple-double threat every night. There are questions about his conditioning. Is he too overweight? Whatever.
He's not.
If you're dropping 40, 15, and 10, I don't care what you're doing or how much you weigh.
As an overweight player.
Well, hey, he didn't drop 40, 15, and 10, though.
Because he's on a
warming up.
minute
And
restriction.
hey, you have to remember, former USC men's basketball standout Isaiah Collier was guarding him both those nights. So let's remember that too. But also, I think Doncic and LeBron, they'll figure it out. But at the end of the day, for me, I really think the Thunder are just a league above everyone else. You have Aaron Wiggins, their 6th best player, dropping 40 a night. Or not 40 a night. He dropped 42 last week. And to me, I don't know if the Lakers are good enough to beat that Thunder team. And when you make a move for Luka Doncic, you make that move to win the NBA Finals. And I personally don't think they're good enough yet.
Well, do you think the failed trade to bring Mark Williams over to Los Angeles is part of that? How much of a gap is AD leaving?
I mean, I think it's definitely very sizable, and I think Williams would have helped out a lot on his two-ways. I mean, he was averaging, 15 and 10, and he's a great defensive stalwart, protecting the rim. I think that would have done wonders for the Lakers. And honestly, I think they would rather have him than Connect, and it obviously shows. And now Dalton Connect is being, a little bit of a crybaby and saying that he needs to sit out and think about this for a minute. Dude, you're an NBA player. Get back in the rotation and let's go. Let's keep playing. But I think this would have helped out a lot. The Mark Williams trade, and unfortunately for them, now, they just need to get Alex Len into it. But, I don't know how, Len will shape up, but Williams would have been a much better help.
Well, we see AD highlights right now for the Mavs. He had a great debut.
In one
but
game.
But he's injured. He's injured
now.
again. So it's
I feel so bad for him. Oh, my God.
Mavericks
Everyone's
are-
clowning him, how he's injury prone, drops an amazing first half, and then walks off injured. But, to the Mark Williams point, there is a reason the trade got rescinded because he probably also is very injury prone. So there's a reason it got, I think it'll work out for the Lakers in that way. But, hey, don't sleep on that former Maryland Terrapin Alex Len. He's a defensive stalwart down there.
All right, well, we're going to move along, and the big game was this past weekend, and I'm not talking about my Atlanta Hawks beating the now 9-45 Washington Wizards. I'm talking about the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles kept the Chiefs' devil magic at bay and took down Mahomes and Kelsey 40-22 to prevent a three-peat. So let's talk about these two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Patrick Mahomes already has 3 Super Bowl rings. This was Hurts' first, and he's been much maligned throughout his career. Which quarterback do you think had more of an impact on their legacy because of this game?
I think without a doubt, it's got to be Jalen Hurts. If you had told me coming into this game that the Eagles would have won 40-22 and Saquon had averaged 2.3 yards a carry on 25 carries, I would have thought you were absolutely insane. Jalen Hurts showed up in a big way. They've been talking all about, can he get it done when it matters most? And he did. And I really think it's going to matter in the scheme of the NFL. These past 2 seasons we've been talking about, it's really Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes in a league above everyone else. But, now you have Hurts to bring in that conversation. I mean, you don't see that many quarterbacks win their first Super Bowl as young as Hurts is. We got to remember, he's not that old. And I really think this is going to put Jalen Hurts into those conversations now of one of the most elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Going into the game, no one was even talking about the Eagles, can they win? It was, can the Chiefs three-peat? And, I mean, Jalen Hurts, when it mattered most, too, that kill shot to Devontae Smith, he delivered. And to me, I really think this separates Jalen Hurts from, that other tier of quarterbacks a little bit.
I do agree with you that Hurts, has kind of been written off, and I think he is way better than a lot of people give him credit for. But I've got to go with Mahomes because I think this loss was absolutely terrible on his record, and this puts him out of It puts him out of any greatest of all time conversations. I'm sorry, I have to say it. His 2 Super Bowl losses were horrible against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He didn't even break 10 points as a whole team for the Chiefs. He was terrible. I know his offensive line was out, but this time he had his offensive line healthy, and they could not help him whatsoever. But he had 2 really bad mistakes, and both of them were interceptions, and one of them led to a pick 6, and then he fumbled as well.
He still has 3 Super Bowls to his name.
Yeah, but let's not act like he's getting older. He's pushing 30. He's pitching.
We said this about Brady.
Hang on, he's pushing. let me get that. He's pushing Unk status. Travis Kelce is slowly declining, and he's going to be done in a few years. I mean, this was the best chance for him to win another Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Best chance. This was the worst team he's taken to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think the Chiefs are really going to do anything to help him out. I mean, the only thing they're just doing.
How do you know?
They
We
just
said this
drafted
about
Xavier
Tom Brady,
Brady.
and then he played another 15
Yeah, but Tom Brady's
years.
body is not like Patrick Mahomes' body. You see Patrick
do you
Mahomes'
know
body.
about his
you see
body?
that?
No,
You see
they
that
do it-
stomach? You see that stomach right there?
The
I don't think
referees
Tom
are
Brady
keeping
has
him
stomach.
okay. I mean, the rules are different now.
The
It's
referees helped out Tom Brady more than Patrick Mahomes did.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
there's
really?
literally a tuck rule. I don't think Mahomes has a rule made about him. Does he?
I mean,
and he's never cheated, has he? Tom Brady's cheated twice.
So are you saying that Tom Brady's the GOAT because he cheated?
That's kinda what I'm hearing,
that's what
actually.
he's saying. Patrick Mahomes.
If you don't
that's
try to
what's
cheat,
up-
if you don't try to cheat once, you ain't doing it right.
well, how do you know? Maybe they're just good at cheating.
Oh my God.
no.
No, I'll say this. I mean, if you compare their stats, Mahomes is just as far along as Brady was.
That's true.
even
I don't
ahead
think
of
he's
time.
going to win a Super
You
Bowl
can't.
though, anymore. I think he's done.
Based on what? He's done it 3 times already before he turned 30.
Well, look, this is you're mentioning this is the worst Chiefs team that he's ever had.
Yeah, so why does this impact his legacy more? I honestly think it definitely impacts Jalen Hurts' legacy because,
Easily.
I mean, it wasn't the best stat line from him, but I think he was over
Super
7.
efficient.
He was super efficient.
Yes.
I think 17 for 22. He had the 2 touchdowns.
And he threw his first interception of the playoffs in that game. He threw no interceptions the
He
whole
had
playoffs.
75 yards on the ground, but also to the Patrick Mahomes point again. Sorry to interrupt you, Thomas. You know, Tom Brady
really
has.
offended,
You should be. Tom Brady. Let's not act like he didn't have playoff stinkers too. The man lost an AFC divisional game at home to the New York Jets. Let's not like.
Oh, another New
my
York
God.
Jets mention.
No,
you would.
no, but like,
I'm taking it
He
back.
also lost to
Hang
2
on.
wild card
Hey,
teams in the Super
Stefano,
Bowl.
who did he lose to twice in the Super Bowl again? Oh, that's right, the superior New York team. Sorry. Anyways, let's just in it. Tom Brady also put up great performances in those losses, and they came down to game-winning drives at Eli Manning. Mahomes was never in the game in any of those 2 losses. I think he's right now the 3rd best quarterback of all time, and I feel like he's got to get one more to pass Montana.
I think
That's my opinion.
He has more time. He has a longer career. I think this really hurts more than it hurt Mahomes. But they always say never meet your heroes. So that's what we're going to do for final memos today. Roll the bump. NBA superstar Jaylen Brown was recently on The Tonight Show and talked about meeting his hero, Bill Nye, the Science Guy, because he made learning fun. So, guys, my question to you is, who would your Bill Nye, the Science Guy be? Who is your hero that you would want to meet?
Ooh. I mean, I got to go with my guy, Timothée Chalamet. He is on an incredible Oscar run right now. I mean, you know, just wearing all these different crazy jackets, wearing a Raiders jacket, wearing all these different, you know, soccer teams. I mean, this dude knows his ball, and he's also a great actor. And I mean, come on, I think it would be just a great, you know, great day to hang out with him, maybe sip some wine, sip some Cabernet, and just listen to some great hip hop, because I know he's a big rap fan. He loves Lil B. He was blessed by the bass god.
I can't lie. That was the last thing I expected you to say, Dylan. I would not have pegged you for a Chalamet fan.
Hey,
but,
remember, I wanted Darvin Ham at my Thanksgiving dinner.
This is true. But honestly, my hero's you, Thomas. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, I was going to ask. It is a Valentine's Day show. Stefano, will you be my Valentine?
Wow.
Yes.
Well, that is all the time we have today for our entire cast and crew. I'm Thomas Johnson. I just got a Valentine, and we will see you next time on The Water Cooler.